Talk show for American agriculture. Hi, everybody. I'm Chip Flory, your host. We join you weekday mornings from 10 until 11 on WHOW, on AM and FM, and on the WHOW streams. We provide farmers and ranchers with timely insights and information aimed at improving their operations. Join me, Chip Flory, weekdays at 10:06 on Central Illinois Ag Station, WHOW.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning, Taylor Baxter, is the city manager for the city of Farmer City. Good to see you, Taylor. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good.
I see you. Good. I see you survived the last 2 weeks of heat. That was brutal.
Yes. And I wanted to mention I would dare not sit in Chief Ben Lowers' spot. So I moved over a spot, the royalty of Chief Lowers. So I'm over a spot. But yeah,
we need to get him like a special seat, like the red velvet, and
he needs his own podcast. I would listen to it all day.
Oh my gosh.
Just the stories that he has.
I have maintained for a very long time, law enforcement guys have the best stories, the best sense of humor. Like those, if you can get those guys talking, they're the best. Yeah. They're just the best.
Well, I don't know if he got in his car yet, but his head might be getting too big, so we better stop talking.
Yeah. The glow off that thing is, ooh, man, we're going to be blinding some folks. But in all seriousness, Taylor, we follow up some recent meetings of the Farmer City Council, and let's dive into solar development within communities is really becoming a popular topic. It was approached, the Farmer City Council was approached about this. Let's dive into that.
Yeah, it's a hot topic, similar to, when the wind turbines were making its first round through central Illinois and all over Illinois, really. It's kind of seeming it's making that way with solar, and you see it all over. Bloomington Normal's got a lot. I know it's been talked about here in Clinton too. And there was a developer who was interested in a piece of land outside of Farmer City. It was about a mile and a half-ish. And the county actually has ordinances because it wouldn't be within the city of Farmer City's city limits, like I just said. So the county has certain rules and regulations that these solar developers need to get before they come to the county to get approval, or just talking about it and submitting that permit. So what this conversation is, hey, here's where it's interested. This developer's interested in looking at putting in solar development. Council, what's your guys' take on that? And we simply just had a discussion. Each member kind of had their own reasons of why they did not support it ultimately. And we had some public testimony that, and I've never had a round of applause at a city council meeting before after a discussion. So that was kind of interesting.
Oh, wow.
In a good way. It was,
the town supported what was decided on, huh?
Yeah. There was a couple that really would have been impacted by this, just by the location. And there was another individual who had a business, and so they voiced their concerns. And it was a good discussion. It was it's kind of on a case by case basis, because there's going to be, maybe one eventually that, there's no growth that's going to happen that way. So the exact same thing we were talking about in Clinton with solar and all this stuff when I was there too, is you got to kind of look at that comprehensive plan and what's the long-term vision of the city. And for this location, they felt like it was not a good spot.
So do you feel like there's an appetite for solar and just the plan that was presented wasn't the right fit for Farmer City? Or do you feel like there's just widespread opposition and it's going to be a no all the way through?
Certain council members, it's going to be a no every time.
Yeah.
But I think it would not be very wise of us to just make a blanket statement of just no all the time. Because like I said, if there's not a real growth opportunity, or because there are things like a community benefit agreement, and this is something that these solar developers do, is they want to be able to help the community that they're going to be impacting, and there's real benefits to that. And if we're just going to say blanket no all the time, and there's a parcel of land that makes sense, and I think it'd be wise for us to look at it on a case-by-case basis. But that's the beauty of the city council, and they get to decide all of that. And I just get direction on how to proceed.
Yep, sure. Very good. So for now, no solar. But I know DeWitt County is looking at multiple applications for that going forward. Now, and remind me, is solar, the state of Illinois came in over the top 2 or 3 years ago with those mandates for like wind and everything, the kind of, the overarching ordinances.
Yep.
Does solar fall into some of that?
Yeah. So I think it's called the CEJA, the CEJA Act. I mean, the A stands for the act, but it's CEJA. And yeah, so how this process goes, if I can go through it quickly, because it's pretty fascinating. The county has ordinances, like I said, where the developers have to come to the city that's impacting within a 1.5 mile radius of the municipality. Let's say, for instance, we were going to say yes. We would write a letter to the county saying, hey, we have no objection to this project. We think it fits in lines with what we're thinking about, yada, 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 all that good stuff. The developer then starts getting all the back information that they need in order to present a permit application to the county. And the county board would look at it. Yep, we agree. This looks great. Let's go ahead and do it. For our instance, we're saying no because we didn't like that. The county, from what I've been told, is that basically makes it dead on arrival. They're not going to look at it if we say no. But what's happened, and like what you mentioned with the CEJA Act, I think it was passed in 2022, is the state of Illinois has the potential to basically override that with clean energy, carbon, all of that stuff, where it's
if they meet the requirements,
and
you cannot say no, basically.
And there was litigation, I think, in the Clinton one, where there was lawsuits, and that's when the state of Illinois ultimately said, no, we're overriding this. So I know that our attorney was talking about this with the city of Bonneville. He's the attorney for them. And he mentioned, he's like, this is public knowledge. This is what's happened. The city of Bonneville said no.
That's over by Champaign, right?
Yeah. They're building solar right now. That company is, even though they said no. So this is a real thing. So this might not be done. It's just how far the developer wants to take it and spend money. So
I see. Yeah, sure.
We'll see.
Yeah, interesting. So no to was there a specific solar project name that one had?
The company's name, it was Santa Ana Township Solar LLC.
Okay.
But they were the main company is based out of Chicago, smaller firm.
Oh, okay.
From what we could find.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I think they're building one over by Hudson. I think that's the closest one.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Interesting. Very good. Taylor Baxter, city manager for the city of Farmer City, our guest in studio this morning, following up some recent meetings of the Farmer City Council. And, we talk with Chief Flowers. We talk with our city administrator now, Tony Harris, about these things. Taylor in Clinton, that is code enforcement and just making sure properties in the community are well kept and those sorts of things. Let's speak to some of that going on in Farmer City right now.
It's a beast in Farmer City, too. Every town deals with this, unfortunately, and that's why you don't like to impede on your residents and basically telling them what to do. But when there's times where individuals and folks just let things go, it impacts the community perception, it impacts the neighboring communities. So that's why these ordinances are very important, and that's what we're fighting over in Farmer City too. It's not strictly just Clinton and Farmer City, it's everywhere. Every town has it. So we actually took ownership of a property in Farmer City on Clinton Avenue on kind of our main drag, and it's going to be demolished. And part of the deal that we had there was just the homeowner basically signed over the deed to us, so we're going to file that with the county and we're going to get that demoed. But part of the public comment yesterday was the feral cats, there's brush everywhere. And those are all things that we are working on. And one of the things that we talked about in the meeting was, why can't you just find these people and just do it daily? Well, there is a due process for each individual. And if they remedy those violations that we have, that process starts over again until the next occurrence happens. So, for example, we have a lot of individuals that fail for whatever reason to maintain their grass. And we've been fighting this summer. where we'll go in and give them a notice saying, hey, you have 30 days to get this fixed. Otherwise, we're going to write a violation. After that violation, then another one will come 30, 60 days, whatever. It's kind of chief is able to use his discretion, which he does a great job at. But eventually, if it gets to the point where the city will come in and mow it, maintain it, or eventually we'll take ownership of your house. And if based on agreements on both sides, the city can't just come in and buy whatever house. That sounded really bad, but we're able to take measures in order to make sure those things are done. Put liens on houses. If you're ever to sell it, those have to be paid and get back to the city. So a lot of those different things. It kind of stinks that we have to do it, but that's the nature of the beast sometimes.
And you had a property like that recently, correct? That you purchased?
Yeah. So that was on the agenda last night. Was 135 West Clinton Avenue. So we took ownership of that, and the individual didn't live there, and she just didn't have any need for it anymore. And she was very willing. Yeah, city, you know what, this makes sense. I'll sign it over to you guys. If you guys are able to take the liability and you guys are wanting to demo it and make it into something great, sure, go ahead. So it was a very good transaction. There was no bad blood whatsoever. So
now when a city does that, Taylor, they raise, they acquire property, they raise it, all those tax dollars that go into that.
Yep.
When that all that process is done, it's cleaned out and it becomes just like green space or vacant property. What happens after that?
Well, a couple of different things. And the city of Farmer City does not want to be in the real estate business. There's just certain times where, if we don't do something with it, it's going to get worse and worse. So that's what the approach is. So afterwards, it's really, we would list it. We would let the local realtors know, hey, this is open. If somebody wanted to buy it, we wouldn't have any use for it. So it wouldn't be like just, we could put up a storage shed or, something over there for city-wise operations. So it really just, if somebody would want to build something on that land, we would get it appraised. I think we can only accept 80% of the appraised value if we really wanted to get rid of something. So we're not just going to let it go for $1. We're going to try to recoup some of our costs, but the goal is to get it down, get something else in there so they can get back on the tax base and somebody else can be able to use that.
Because that's the key to property for the city is there. That's a base for your taxes.
Right. And that's why we try to work with people is we don't want these houses demolished. We don't want just vacant land everywhere. We want structures to be sound, to be used and habitable, but sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's where we were.
I don't know if this is an out of bounds question. Do you find in a lot of those circumstances, like those folks are behind on like property taxes? Are they up to date on those things?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So sometimes there's people that just flee the state and they just don't care what's going to happen, and they're back taxes from the past 3 or 4 years. So yes, I've seen that, not in Farmer City, but I've seen that in other communities I've worked with. This, for example, no, she was up to date on taxes. She did everything she needed to do. It was a situation where I just didn't need it anymore, and you guys take ownership. So kind of, again, case by case. Sure. It kind of varies.
Sure. Yeah. Is Farmer City kind of in the, like Clinton, I'm sure you've kept tabs on this, like Clinton, keep, trying to update its codes and do more in the way of code enforcement and those sorts of things?
Yeah, so that's been an interesting topic, and especially in my office is because we took over the zoning codes from DeWitt County in December and January. So this has been kind of the first real year of building permits. Ordinance violations, not so much because that was chief and they were already doing all of that stuff anyways. But yeah, the building permit side of it, that's been interesting and people have been very receptive to it. There wasn't any change. We just took what the county had and made it over to Farmer City. And pricing is still all the same and all that. So
gotcha. Very good. Has code enforcement become a real focal point then?
It has
beautification, all that stuff.
It has, and it just goes to community pride. And you drive around town, and if you drive in a community and it's just stuff everywhere and garbage there, it doesn't make it a good environment to want to move there, to start a business there, to continue to visit. So a lot of different reasons, health and safety, all that stuff. So we try to make sure we're on top of it as much as we can.
Gotcha. Very good. Yep. Well, Taylor, I'll tell you what, on that, let's take a break, come back with some more. Taylor Baxter is the city manager for the city of Farmer City. My guest in studio. More to come with him on the morning show.
WHOW.
They say seeing is believing, and nothing catches the eye like the 9.5 bushel per acre yield advantage of Revitec fungicide over other fungicides. But don't just take our word for it. See it for yourself. Run a comparison of Revitec fungicide. Enter the Real Results Yield Challenge and experience the difference it makes in your fields. And when you share your experience with us, you'll get a chance to win a 2-year lease on a new truck. Sign up at yieldchallenge.basf.us. No purchase necessary. See official rules for details. Always read and follow label directions.
The Illinois Emergency Management Agency has designated WHOW's many platforms on AM and FM, as well as WEZC 95.9 FM, as standby radio stations for emergency messages to be sent for severe weather, as well as for the Clinton Power Station. We also have a direct link to the National Weather Service for watches or warnings to air immediately when they're issued. Keep yourself and your family safe by tuning into the WHOW platforms on AM, FM, or streamed online, as well as on WEZC 95.9 FM.
DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air and online 24 hours a day. The latest local news stories are heard every hour on Central Illinois' news station, the Big 1520 AM and 92.3 FM WHOW. Stream live at DeWittDailyNews.com. They're also heard every hour on the station that's your easy choice, 95.9 FM WEZC. And to read the latest local news on your electronic device, including tablets, iPhones, and smartphones, go to DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWitt County's #1 source for local news is on the air, online, 24 hours a day.
CEO Paul Scourin here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Call our family medicine clinic now to get your children's school physicals scheduled. We're accepting new patients of all ages. More info by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. Taylor Baxter, City Manager for the City of Farmer City, our guest in studio today. Taylor, I know that Farmer City had a tornado land outside of town, and that caused a little issue with your tornado sirens. What's going on?
Yeah, we've been battling this, unfortunately, for a little bit, and I've been working very closely with Will over at the Emergency Management Agency over in DeWitt County, and I believe it's Karen. Is that Karen Clevenger? I think took over.
Yes. EMA.
Yeah. So they've been great to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, because there's a lot of coordination between the three of us. Is Will and Karen, they'll be able to activate the sirens from the county.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a signal shot all the way to Farmer City. There's a lot of technology within these sirens that a lot of things that could go wrong. So we've been going back and forth, and there's not just like there's siren techs that are just laying around here in Clinton or Farmer City. So it's hard to get somebody down here. We've had people from Plainfield come down, and so it's been a process, but those two have been very good at working with me and working on them. So yeah, they didn't activate for a variety of reasons. We ended up spending a whole day with these techs that come down here and test, okay, what tones are being sent from the county? What are they working? Are they not receiving it? Are they not igniting? So then we go over to the water tower, and we ended up having something unplugged at the water tower. The transition something, I don't know what he called it, but somehow when we were working on the water tower, whenever that was, that thing got unplugged.
Oh my
and
gosh. It's the simplest thing, isn't
it's
it?
as simple as that.
Yeah.
So we went back and we retested everything. So we're back up and live. We're good. The good thing about Farmer City, though, is we do have that noon whistle. So at noon outside my office every day, that siren goes off. So we were able to override that.
Yeah.
So that was still good. We still had some backup plans, but we like to have the real ones going.
Noon whistle, man. I haven't heard that one in forever. Gosh, that takes me back to my days living in McLean, Illinois.
Yeah, it's
funny.
it's something. Yeah, I'll be sitting on the phone and I'm like, okay, sorry, just give me a second, and then this it goes for about a minute. And, all right, I'm back here.
Oh, that's so fun, man! A noon whistle. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, yeah, it is. It is. So got that figured out. It sounds like.
Yeah, we're back up and going.
All right, very good. Let's see, Taylor. A couple minutes yet, still with you. Anything else going on? Keeping you busy lately? What's on the plate?
Couple of projects. I'll go quickly because how much time we got?
We got 2.5 minutes. You're
Okay,
fine.
perfect. Okay, so Washington Street. This is going to be on the next agenda. Washington Street is getting a sewer lining, and we're getting an all new water main. So at July 3rd, before the 4th holiday, we actually had a bid opening for the sewer lining portion of Washington Street, and that came in at $88,015. So that's going to go to the next council meeting for approval. So we're moving forward on that. That's really good. I found out I talked about this before, the Route 54 sidewalk that has moved forward, and the state letting date, that's going to be in February. So this is going to be a spring summer project for next year.
Okay.
So that's moving forward, and that's good.
And what's going on there?
So that's going to be the sidewalk from the old Casey's past the new Casey's on 54.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
I
that
remember that.
big sidewalk project.
How much is that one going to be?
It's 400,000 plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking like $1 million just
Yeah.
because of all that, but it's probably just
Yeah.
mostly concrete work,
I
isn't
think,
it?
yeah, about 450,000.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we got
cool.
a grant for that, so that's good.
There you go. Easy
Yep.
enough. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. It's good to clarify that because I talk about it and everybody's just got to know what I'm talking about. I'm getting my brain, which is a scary place. So thank you for clarifying. So last one, I-74. I've talked about that project. I did receive the updated plans from our engineers for extending utilities out to the site. So now that's electric, water, and sewer on the city's end.
Okay.
We're going to be helping out that project move forward. And so that's moving along great too.
So what's the latest with that project then?
Yeah, so don't know for sure what's going in there yet.
Oh, okay.
But regardless of what's going in there, whether it was the 20-acre parcel, which I don't think that's happening anymore, or the 10-acre where it's going to be a mix of residential and light commercial, we wanted to make the utilities big enough that could handle both.
I see.
So regardless of what happens, we'll be ready for it.
Easy enough. Well, Taylor, always good to see you, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you. You too.
We'll see you later. That's Taylor Baxter, City Manager for the City of Farmer City, our guest in studio this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Of course, we stream live online all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news comes your way now on the morning show.